This is a new museum that just opened back in July of 2012. And it's a wonderful story of two friends meeting some other people that become friends and what they could do by themselves. And two friends involved were a fellow by the name of George Woodling Jr. and another good friend, Ed Patrick. And they were military history buffs who collected a lot of things over their lives. Back in the early to mid-90s, the concept of creating a museum is what they wanted to do. Back then they met some similar-minded people who were very passionate about the history, the local history of Port Clinton and the Ford Tri-Motor and what that meant to the area. And that organization is called the Ford Tri-Motor Heritage Foundation. These are some folks that are interested in building and restoring a fully operational 1929 vintage Ford Tri-Motor. And unfortunately George passed away about 3 years ago, but he left his estate to found a foundation that would create these museums and make this happen. So in July of 2012, we completed construction of the Liberty Aviation Museum and have provided space to the Tri-Motor Heritage Foundation to complete their project of combining the wings and the fuselages, getting the skins on the aircraft, and having this Tri-Motor become fully operational and will be flying out of Port Clinton Airport. This is the best man cave in Northwest Ohio. It really is. Because where else can you go to see some awesome sites like the B-25? And that is a 1945 vintage medium bomber from World War II. And that's fully operational. We've got some unique items that we have in the museum, all tied with local history. Out in our lobby, we have a Class A uniform of a fellow by the name of Clark Gable. Clark Gable was a Cadiz, Ohio boy, well-known movie star back in the 30s and 40s. He also flew in about 4 or 5 combat missions as a gunner. So here's a local Ohio boy. We have one of his uniforms. But we're not just about airplanes. We also have a PT boat. And PT boat, a patrol torpedo boat from World War II. We actually have 2. And we are restoring one of the items, but this will be fully operational and it will be out on the waters of Lake Erie. So when the visitor comes to our museum, they're getting elements of the 1930s, the golden age of aviation when aviation really took off, and then 1940s, the World War II generation, and our B-25, and some of the military items that we have here. This nation is now celebrating the bicentennial of the War of 1812. It's also celebrating the 150th anniversary of the American Civil War. Well, in 30 short years, this nation will be doing something to commemorate World War II and America's involvement in World War II. The aircraft like Georgie's gal, the B-25, will still be flying, as will other warbirds, because they're constantly being rebuilt and maintained and babied, if you will. But our pilots are getting older, they're going to be retiring and stepping down, so it's a constant need to find younger people who are passionate about this history, who would like to have a little bit of hands-on history. So every once in a while we find that glimmer, and what we want to do is nurture that. So in 30 years, somebody this size might be in a position to be actually a pilot in one of these planes, because they'll be really sought after in 30 years as this nation celebrates the centennial of World War II. And as you know, 30 years goes by real quick.